from things that you've gone through? Or do you continually repeat the same behavior and you're still getting the same outcome, but in your mind, you're doing it a different way? So you think you're getting a different product, but you're not. Do you learn? Do you learn? Do you jump off a bridge knowing you can't swim into deep water? Do you do that? And you say, well, I won't jump off a bridge this time. I'm going to jump off the step. Do you do that? Or do you say, let me take some swimming lessons? Do you learn? Do you think you waste your energy? These are all questions, and it's geared to make you think. Do you know what you are capable of? I want to say no. A lot of times we think we can or cannot do a thing, and we have not learned who we are, and we are capable of so much more than the thing that we're doing at that time. Like I said, a lot of times we give up. My husband says in his book that he's gotten very good at scheduling his life, scheduling the scene and preparing himself for knowing, saving the energy, consuming energy, knowing when to go for it, and having available reserves to be able to do that. You have to think about that because it's endurance. Does anybody think that you didn't get what you wanted because you didn't have the talent or the strength or the commitment to get it? No, you lacked endurance. Endurance. You lacked endurance. Thought. Come what may, all bad fortune is to be conquered by endurance. An olive has to go through 3 stages before the oil can run. It has to go through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. Just like the olive, some of us feel like we went through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing, and we are right. But just like that olive, you went through what you went through just to get your oil, the purpose in you, to flow. One of the things you must learn to develop in this endurance process is you must learn how to handle discouragement. And as I said, one reason that a lot of us give up along our journeys, when it comes to different things, is because of fear and discouragement. The word discouragement means to oppose by expressing disapproval. To oppose by expressing disapproval. If you look at the word discouragement, there's a word in there, and it's courage. In order to endure, you have to have courage. Courage to face anything that stands before you. And sometimes facing something doesn't mean, especially when it's physical things, standing there and right head to head. But sometimes facing them is sticking to a plan, writing things down and sticking to it and not wavering no matter what comes up. If you said, I need X amount of dollars in my bank account by this date, and you've made a plan that I'm going to spend this amount of money and I'm going to save. Now, all of a sudden, you see a nice sale on some boots or a purse or other things, and you say, well, this week I'll double up. That's not sticking to the plan. You must stick to that plan, and you must be strong and have courage to do that, because things will always come up to throw you off. Where do you get the most disapproval? Is it from yourself? Some tell you a lot of time that the disapproval or discouragement I got, it didn't come from my family. It came from me. It came from how I felt about something that I did or something I had been involved in. It wasn't always mom or dad or family members or friends that I knew who could look at you. I don't believe you did that. They can say that. But if you be honest, you beat yourself up more than anyone else can. A lot of times you know what you've done wrong and you know your errors, whether you admit it or not. So internally, you can discourage yourself. How do you think you handle going through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing? How do you think you handled that? I know along my journey, it's been plenty of times where I didn't handle it too well. Plenty of times. I remember times when my husband was going through, and I meant well and I wanted better for him and myself, but I didn't handle it well. And I would snap up, and I'll be honest, I was quite violent towards him at times. That's not right. But I was, because I wasn't handling it appropriately. I wasn't enduring the correct way. Is discouragement a choice? Now, here's a good one. Here's a good one. What's the difference between disappointment and discouragement? This is a good question. What's the difference between disappointment and discouragement? Well, I like to think of um, disappointment. Disappointment is a missed appointment. I made an appointment to meet my friend for coffee at 12 o'clock. She didn't show up, or I got there late and she was gone. I feel bad, but I can always reschedule. I can always reschedule. So to me, disappointment is just a missed appointment. But discouragement is something that the enemy uses to take away your courage to face something else or to face a thing. Have to be careful, because what happens is a lot of times we will use disappointment as discouragement, and that's not what it is. Do not let a missed appointment be your discouragement and keep you from enduring. You can always reschedule. Don't be fearful to reschedule. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. There must be a balance of both positive and negative. And that's why I said don't be afraid to fail. Keep going, keep getting up, keep trying, no matter what. Because in order for anything to balance out, positive and negative have to come together. They have to. They attract. They have to come together. So you think about anything negative in your life that has happened to you, that you have been part of, or that you don't see as fruitful. When you look back, you will see that it helped push you into something greater. It was a learning process. It was something that had to happen in order for you to grow and in order for you to help the next person come along. Every great work, every big accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through holding to the vision, and often just before the big achievement comes apparent failure and discouragement. And if you ever think about someone running a race, before they get to that finish line, that's when their legs get tired, the breathing is short. You just want to let go, but it's always right there, right before you cross that finish line is when this happens. You can run that race, but right when you right there, I remember my mom telling me most accidents happen 5 to 10 minutes when you're right to home, when you're driving late and you're tired, right before you say, I'm almost there. That's when most accidents happen, right before you cross the finish line. Perseverance and persistence in spite of all obstacles, discouragements, and impossibilities. It is this that in all things distinguish the strong souls from the weak souls. Strong souls know how important it is to take responsibility for their lives and to own every choice, decision, thought, and feeling. Let's read that again. Strong souls know how important it is to take responsibility for their lives and to own every choice, decision, thought, and feeling. Strong souls know how important it is to take responsibility for their lives and to own every choice, decision, thought, and feeling. Part of having endurance is taking responsibility for your life, taking responsibility for the choices that you made, for the thoughts that you made, any decision that you made, and any feelings that you have, because they're all yours. They're not anyone else's fault. They're all yours. Take the good and the bad and keep pushing. Keep pushing. Strong souls know how important it is to take responsibility for their lives and to own every choice, decision, thought, and feeling. Keep pushing. You must have endurance. I am living at a point in my life that I don't even know if I dreamed about it. I just wanted normalcy. I just wanted to be able to go when I wanted to go. I wanted my kids happy, my family happy, and I just wanted to be able to cook when I got ready. I didn't ever think of, you know, having no big flamboyant anything. I just wanted to be comfortable. And yet having endurance just to have that simple thing, God has given me so much more things that I didn't even think that I would see at this point in my life. And I can honestly say I feel like at this time, even when things go wrong, I am living my best life. But the key is I had to endure some things. I had to endure some things. I had to get up when I was hurt. I had to get up when I cried. I had to get up when I didn't have any money. I had to give up when that man was taking money out my pocketbook. I had to get up when that man snatched my pocketbook and my daughter was in Philadelphia giving birth to my first grandchild. I had to endure. I had to endure. And you have to endure. Endurance will get you something giving up can never give you. Can never give you. From my heart, I want everybody out there, if you don't get anything else from this, I know we had technical difficulties today, but guess what? We sitting here and we're enduring it. I plead with you to endure. Endure. You can make it. Your purpose is greater than any struggle. Just don't quit. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Remember, strong souls know how important it is to take responsibility for their lives and to own every choice, decision, thought, and feeling. Mm-mm-mm. Sometimes owning decisions, we don't like to do that. We'd rather place blame because we don't want to look at ourselves. You have to look at yourself. If you do not look at yourself in the error of your ways and the good things about yourself to balance those things out, you will never, ever, ever find a purpose. You will never be able to endure because it'll always be somebody else's fault. I know things that happened to me when I was a little girl and I was angry, I was hurt. So there was behaviors that carried on into my teenage and young adult life. There's behaviors that I had that fighting. I'll fight anybody. I didn't care. But that didn't benefit me. And if you ask me in anger, instead of me looking at me and my behavior, it was always because of what happened to me when I was a child. But when I became an adult, what happened to me as a child, I could no longer use and make sense because now I'm in control of my life. So I cannot no longer blame what happened to me as a little girl when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old or younger on myself at 25 and 26. Why? Because now I am in control of my life. So we have to look at ourselves. And it took me a long time to look at me and be like, wait a minute, this ain't my mom's fault. This not my grandma's fault. This not my uncle's fault. It's my fault now because how can I blame something on someone else when I made that decision? I made that choice. I went there. I said that and I did that. Hi, Mom. Thank you for tuning in. That's one of Pastor Carolyn Hinman from Fight for Families out of Delaware. How do you express disapproval within yourself? How do you do that? Some people, when they're disapproved with themselves, when they're angry with themselves, they're angry at someone. It's called displaced anger. They get mad and they make it about something else, so they never have to deal with that situation. Do you do that? You must have endurance. Part of endurance is realizing what place you play in that situation. What part was you? Because everything is not somebody else. What part was you? I'm trying to give you little things to tell you so how you can make it to the next day. Some people make it the next minute because people want to give out. They want to give up so quickly. Face whatever it is in you, the inner me, The enemy, the inner me. Face whatever it is in you. Endure those things, even if you don't like it. It was things that I didn't like in me, and I'm trying to displace it, and other people saw it. So when they verbalized it, now I'm fighting them because who you think you talking to or who you think you talking about. But I had to see those things in myself so I could keep going, so I didn't become stagnant or I didn't get stuck. The purpose in you is greater, but you must endure. I hear footsteps, so maybe my husband got it together. How'd it go? No?
No.
No. Come and join us.
No, yeah, I'm trying to.
Well, I guess we'll do Pastor Brown another week, babe. That's not a problem. So Pastor Brown will join us. Sorry, guys. Sometimes with this system, it'll work on our end, but it's not working on the our guest end. So it's, trial and error. All is well. Everything's in its beginning stages, but we will have endurance and we will be just fine. Let's think about some other things. What things encourage you? We talked about what discourages you, but what things encourage you? Um, my sister encouraged me. When my sister, when we were younger, I getting straight A's and things like that was always easy for me. I sit in class, hear what the teacher say, pick it up, take a test, pass the test, go on about my business. I didn't do a whole lot of studying. I just did it, just picked it up. But my sister, it wasn't as easy for her to pick some things up. She actually had to study, and she was studying, and she would get up early and she was studying. She would go to bed late and she was studying. I'll be watching TV, I'll be writing poetry, I'll be drawing, but she would be studying. But I looked at her now and what she does. She has her doctorate degree and she works with children and she teaches. But she encouraged me because just because something comes easy to you does not mean you don't have to do anything. And she lit a fire under me so I would further my education because I'm like, this is my little sister and look how far she going. I'm older than her and she ain't passed those tests easy like that. And if she can do all that, I know I can do it. So it wasn't because I felt I knew more or I could do better, but somebody can always encourage you. And my sister, Dr. Tiffany Throbach, encouraged me because no matter how hard it was, if she had to stay up all night and study that thing till she got it, that's what she did. That's what she did. So who encourages you? Who encourages you? And that's good and bad because when my husband with his lifestyle of addiction, he said that when he was younger he always saw, the older drug dealers and they had money and had the latest cars and they had all the girls, and he saw that and he idolized that. So that encouraged him even more to join that lifestyle. But now as a man, he said, you know yeah, I saw that, but there was other people doing it another way too. He said they were buying houses and they had nice cars and they were getting married. And he said, I had positive role models, but I paid attention to the negative. So he paid attention to the negative and let that feed him and that encourage him instead of the other way. So what encourages you? Is it encourage you to do better? Is it lighting a fire on you to pursue, or is it encouraging you to stay where you are or do things that you know are not beneficial to you? There's another question in here. It says, is discouragement a choice? Can you choose to be discouraged? Can you choose to be discouraged? I just want you to think about that. Can you choose to be discouraged? I would have to say yes. Our emotions are our emotions. How we feel about a thing is our choice to let that to let that enable us or hinder us. People can let you down. We can get laid off. Money can be funny. Whatever happens, but it's up to us to let that thing hold us stagnant or keep us from moving forward. We can be hurt. I'm not saying that we can't get hurt. I'm not saying that things always go right. But what I'm saying, letting it take away your courage is your choice. When David looked at Goliath and saw how big Goliath was, but he knew how big his God was. He looked at Goliath and then he looked at everybody around him and said, "Who is this? Who is this? In other words, who did he think he is?" Do you look at your giant and you feel like he's too big? There's no way I can beat that thing. Do you see all the people around you looking at that giant, the same giant you're looking at, and they're telling you, "There's no way you can do that"? Do you let that stop you? I know at the time when my husband and I were going through and we weren't married, it was so many people telling me, "You just need to let him go. You just need to give it up." They didn't want me to marry him. They didn't even want us together at a certain point. But I tell you now, when they look at us now, they know that there's a God. They know that there's a God. I didn't let their opinion discourage me. Was I hurting at the time? Yes. Did things look bleak? Yes. But I did not let them discourage me to what I knew God was going to do. I can't tell. I just knew God was going to do something. As long as we both kept pushing, I knew God was going to do something. And he has, and he is, and he's not done yet. The question that said, "Did you ever think you would have made it this far?" Did you ever think you would have made it this far? A lot of times we look at that question and we think, "Yeah, I knew I was going to grow up. Yeah, I knew I was going to be a lawyer. Yeah, I knew I was going to be a doctor. Oh, I always wanted to be a cop and I'm a cop." But that's deeper than that. It's not, do you think you will have what you have, but did you think that you would be where you are emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally? Did you think you would be there? Your thought processes. Are you angry? Are you bitter about something that happened? Did you think that you would be where you are right now? Let's see. I never thought that I would fall in love with someone that was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Never. Didn't grow up around it. Parents didn't smoke. No, I didn't grow up around people drinking. I didn't grow up with any of that. So when I got involved in it, it was nothing that I thought that I would end up in. Didn't work.
We do it next week.
So come on. So that's the question. Do you ever think you would have made it this far? Babe, it's almost over. Okay. Come on. Say hi to everybody.
What is she doing?
I've been waiting for you to come back.
You might as well roll. Yo, you did good. I mean, let's go, man. Who's on here? What's going on over here? How you been? You've been doing the whole show.
Well, we've just been talking about endurance. And I just been
Nah.
reading some of your questions and asking questions and sharing some little things from my life, just
Oh
little
yeah.
aspects. Nothing serious, nothing deep. We were having endurance until you could figure out the technical difficulties.
Yeah, I was
We were
doing,
enduring.
but I it's a Bible verse, and it was saying, it won't turn out good for you if you start kicking against the goals. And what that was basically saying is, God trying to do one thing and you trying to make something else work, it's not going to turn out good for you anyway. So I think this was actually needed because I keep telling you that you should have to do this sometime.
He does keep telling me
I
that.
keep because we
I would like
God,
to be prepared for it.
but God be calling us to do so many different things, which is our um, it's our reasonable service, I say, and some things you're gonna have to do. Not that we're apart, but you're gonna have to do it, and I'm gonna be doing something else. So
Wow. You're sitting here now. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Juliet, as I really was not prepared for this, guys. But I know if I don't know anything else, I know that no matter what you're going through, you have to endure. You
yes, bro.
cannot lay down and die. We were created in God's image, and everything that He had in Him, since we all don't look alike, I say this. We're creating His image, and none of us look alike. Me and Him don't look alike. But what that also means is that the same thing that He was made up of, when He put us in His image, He put that thing in us. And when they hung Him on the cross and they beat Him, everything they did to Him, He didn't die. He made it to that cross, and He did not die until He said, "It
It
is
is
finished."
finished.
He laid down and died.
Mm.
They couldn't kill Him. So if they put that in Him, and if He that was in Him, and He created us in His image, then that in us. That's in us. You do not have to die. You do not. It's your choice to endure. You can make it. You don't have to give up. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to me. I'm gonna go get some rest. Keep praying for me. I pray for you. I want you to endure. There's great things in store. Um, I love you
Oh,
all. I love you for your support. You must endure. You can make it.
yes.
You can make it.
Keep going. Keep going. You can endure through it all. Everything you need is already inside of you. You just can't give up. Most people have forfeited what they not forfeited or haven't achieved what God has for them because they actually gave up when it was actually right at they was at the doorstep of what God had for them. So you must have endurance. You
You
must
must
have
have. And
endurance.
Maul, you're doing a good job. My sister Maul out there. Yep. If you got to kick and
Kicking and
scream,
screaming through it all.
but you doing it.
Keep going.
However, you have to endure. The key is enduring.
Damon,
This
we
too
love
shall
y'all.
pass.
You know we love y'all, brother. We gotta get together again. According to y'all, we gotta have another session. since y'all since y'all said so. But anyway, we got thank y'all. But we got a new feature on here next week. We're gonna do it. They had just told me it's a poll. We're gonna have a poll up there, and have different questions, and the people, the audience, can basically you know how you go through a poll, have a question, and then you pick this question, that question. So next week, that's another feature we can add to our online talk show, and we'll just have a particular question. If you have a question that you would like to have answers to, that people will you will want to know answers to the questions, just leave it in the comment section, and we'll consider it for next week's show, and we'll put that poll out there and have people comment and give us more views and opinions from a variety of different areas. It don't always have to be from one person's point of view. We just want to have multiple point of views and everything. Again, we got so many things coming up. You told them about the conference coming up.
Yes.
We,
Pray for us at this conference that souls will be saved. That's the most
yeah,
important thing. That's what we want. All we are is examples of what God
yeah.
can take with two messed up individuals because He was a mess.
Yeah, she was terrible. Yeah, yeah. Fasting and prayer. This kind only come out by fasting and prayer. It was nothing but fasting and prayer because she was terrible.
Never
But
lied.
yeah, pray
He
for us
was a
because
mess.
it's gonna be uh going into the enemy's camp, man, and wherever our souls, our feet of our go,